Warning, this podcast contains spoilers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Marvel's Inhumans. This is Season 1, Episode 8. I forgot the name of this episode, and I had it
finally,
down
Black
there.
Bolt.
No, I have the episode written down right here on my notes, and I'm staring at it. I'm like, what is that? Entitle the episode.
No, it's just the exclamation I've had all season, and finally fucking Black Bolt! Like... Thank you.
And we got to hear him.
I know.
I wasn't disappointed because they've been building this up, and I think the words that they chose Black Bolt to say were the correct words.
I think so too.
They're very kind of meaningful, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have, well, this series ended in a way I didn't expect it to end this way, but I guess I'm kind of glad that it did. This wasn't like some major epic war scene or kind of like no storming the castle scene. It was just, two people in a room talking. Well, not really talking, but, one saying something and then blowing up the entire planet.
Well, we did learn also that Max did learn his brother's language. Just didn't tell him that he learned it.
I liked that. That was very nicely done.
It was nice, but it's like, okay, and his brother's like shocked. Like, I could talk to you this whole entire time, and you didn't tell me.
Well, I don't want to talk to you.
And I mean, it's great that he picked up on that. I love that. And it's also, on the other side, though, Black Bolt, you should have fucking taught your brother your language so you could speak with, your brother.
I know. I guess
they've been strained since their whole parents dying thing.
Well, yeah. that might put a strain on the family relationship there.
That'll do it.
Oh, yeah, by the way, that thing that I said that our parents did, they didn't really do it.
Yeah, that was crazy. Because I don't think we knew,
We didn't know what he did. We knew that he did something because someone goes, well, are you going to tell him that you're responsible for your parents' death? And not him?
Mm-hmm. It was good times.
So we knew something happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a really cool reveal as well.
I will say, coming into this show, I wasn't looking, that forward to it just because, marketing was shit. And after spending, so many episodes on Earth and, having almost none of them have their powers, I liked a lot of this finale because and I think this has to do with, I don't give them that much credit, but I think a lot of this had to do with budget, that they had most of these characters just sort of talking and, dealing with the fallout of everything that has happened. And I think having these two brothers finally in a room just talk about their feelings, essentially, is a different kind of resolution than any Marvel property. And I give Inhumans praise for that because it's different and it was heartfelt and I actually felt something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always that connection, even though Max is kind of a little crazy. There's always that connection between the two of them, and the fact that they lost it somewhere is really sad, and that they could have possibly found it again if things were different. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and you could tell that that's what Max wanted, because he's like, well, you went back on your word, because you didn't want to be king and all this other kind of shit. Mm-hmm. But also, he didn't. It's not like Black Bolt could go up and Max go, hey, this is what happened. He can't really. Can't really tell him, hey, yeah, well, this is what happened. I can't make you be king. And then Max just doesn't understand. So it's a lot of miscommunication and a lot of secrets and stuff. But at the core of it, I think if there wasn't that, they would have been okay.
Mm-hmm. And this episode, character-wise, was phenomenal. The things that happened between the characters, the emotions between all of the characters was great. It just really sucks that, like, the lead up to this wasn't as strong as it could have been. I would love if there was just, like, a smash cut of most of the season and then just watch the whole last episode, because I think this whole last episode was fantastic.
It was, and it makes me want to see a second season, but more of this.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that happening.
No.
This is record low ratings. It really sucks, but I don't see a second season.
I don't either, but what I do see is possibly integrating these characters into S.H.I.E.L.D, which is coming back, and we know that S.H.I.E.L.D. they've already introduced Inhumans. They've had them for the past couple of seasons now. But these are new Inhumans. And the ones that
I was going to say purebred Inhumans.
Old Inhumans.
Old Inhumans.
Now, if we could get these Inhumans from this show and integrate them into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, and we can have them learn more about Inhumans, and we can have the Royal Family Inhumans teach the new Inhumans about things, and have these new Inhumans teach the old, Inhumans about other things that they've learned, and that'd be nice to actually, get some answers on, like, how Inhumans work, and if there is a difference between these Inhumans and the ones that we see in S.H.I.E.L.D, if it's a different bloodline or maybe it's a different subspecies or something like that. That would be cool. And what I wanted from Inhumans was to learn more about Inhumans. And
well, we got maybe like inadvertently, but we got a little bit because the doctor said something about he'd never seen anything like Black Bolt before when looking at his DNA versus Rock Hands guy. What was his name? The guy who was in jail with Black Bolt. He was cool.
I can't remember.
But he didn't have enough screen time, and I'm sad. Anyway, him comparing like Black Bolt's DNA with any other Inhuman DNA he ever saw, he was like, this is really crazy, not, like any other. So we know biologically there is definitely a difference. We just don't know what that difference is and how important it is, if it is.
But we also know that all the Inhumans on the Earth, all their DNA are fairly similar, so they're all related in some extent.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And I don't know. I think the way they're going to incorporate them into S.H.I.E.L.D. right now is who the big boss is.
Yeah, because
if I had to guess, it's probably
they kept it a little too vague for my liking, but Adelan was not just a haven for the Inhumans, it was a prison for something else. A greater evil to fight than each other or the humans. And seemingly only Black Bolt and the head of the Genetic Council, who is now probably very dead, knows it. So Black Bolt is the only one who knows it.
Yeah. We're gonna...
And he hasn't even told Medusa yet.
No, he hasn't. So something... Yeah.
Future MCU...
Well, they were gonna make... What? They were gonna make a movie about Inhumans, and then they decided not to.
Well, they decided to make this. What I hope for the future is just that they put these characters in other stuff. Like, Black Bolt needs to be in, what's it?
Infinity War.
Yes. If not part 1, definitely part 2. He needs to yell at Thanos. I know I've said it like every episode so far, but it's like he needs to yell at Thanos.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do use him, and I don't know what they're gonna do with Gorgon because he's a little,
Well, he's got some work to do.
I don't know what they did with Gorgon. I mean, initially from the last episode, we thought he was crazy, and we don't really know what happened with him. Bringing people back from the dead is never a good idea, but
Yeah, and a second Genesis too. So.
Yeah, he could have honestly, what it could be is a split personality, and I hate to draw this analogy, but Hulk, he could be fighting with this feral version of himself.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I thought he was going to stay on Adeline and die with it.
That might have been good, but I think I didn't like that he died, but I think I would have preferred if he just stayed dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I want to say too soon to tell, but we may never tell,
yeah.
how he's going to progress from there. Because we also don't know what second Terrigenesis did to him, besides bring him back to life. He could have a whole new set of powers.
Now that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I think...
Well, he did infuse him with Oren's blood, so we don't know.
I think if we explored more of that, we could have, more... there's more conflict with Inhumans who don't necessarily have powers, but they are Inhumans, or shitty powers.
If they do bring him into the S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm pretty sure Fitzsimmons will have some tests going on him. Because they'll probably be like, okay, he went through a second Terrigen, and they'll be like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on. They'll be excited about it because when Daisy went through the Terrigenesis and stuff like that, and everyone, they're really excited about looking at their DNA and stuff like that. But having someone that's gone through it twice, that might be something they can help with. So it might have been the best thing for him to come back. But I honestly thought, because when Karnak was giving him the, saying, you can stay, but it's up to you. It's, I would want you to go. I would want you to come with us, but it's up to you. I thought for sure he was going to stay.
That was a really sweet and tender moment.
Well, Karnak kind of broke down. He dropped his wall and he became very emotional. He's like, I just wanted you back because I missed you. You're my cousin. I mean, he was basically probably like a brother to him. That's what he was.
Yeah. Called him his best friend.
I can understand that. Wanting to break. But sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes. And I think he realized that immediately because this entire episode, whenever anybody went to chastise him, he was like, yeah, I know, mistake.
Yeah.
I understand.
I get it.
But it's too late. I can't change the past.
Yeah. So that's a thing. But yeah, nice to know that Karnak built the room, the silence room.
Yeah. That was interesting. He seems to be like
an engineer of some type.
Yeah, an engineer.
Or because he couldn't either, like they wanted him to stop the countdown or whatever it was for the, but he couldn't do that. So he might have been like the IT department.
Yeah.
He's the IT guy.
He knows a little bit of everything.
Yeah. But I don't know. I hope if they do, I hope they keep some of these main characters, and I hope after bringing all of Alan, they find people in that were considered not or below them, find a place that rise up. I hope there's some people that rise up.
Yeah.
Maybe get some new blood or something. Lack of a better term, because they all have the same pretty much. Or maybe Lauren will step up to the plate and become a good person now, and not a.
Well, she may continue, or she may take Gorgon's place as like head of the guard, because Gorgon doesn't seem like he's ready for a job at the moment.
No, but yeah, I don't know. She seemed like after she realized what, you know, the freakiness of what Max's plan was.
Yeah.
And everything. She was just like, what? She's like, it's our place. You know what I mean? She's just like, what did I get myself into? Yeah, just like a person realizing they're in a cult all of a sudden. Oh crap. Yeah. I feel bad for Max too, though.
Well, Maximus started out as my favorite character, and he ended out as my favorite character, but I think I would have liked maybe not a full redemption arc, but like a slight one, because, you know, we need a villain for, you know, the story, but, well, we don't necessarily need one, but, you know, Marvel's case, you need a good one, and I think Maximus, while not, I could see why he's considered the villain of the story, but, like, I found myself rooting for him more, which is I guess that's a bad thing. But I think towards the end of this, I ended up liking both Black Bolt and Maximus. I warmed up to Black Bolt now, and I feel like if the series were to end after this and they're not picking it back up for season 2, I like how this ended, and I like how this ended for Maximus. But other than, you know, that character arc ending, you know, can we talk about Medusa? Because I was expecting a whole lot of things from Medusa in this episode, and they never came up.
Yeah. What were you expecting from Medusa? I'm just curious.
Well, because, like, after, I didn't want to go into this reading, like, some of the, like, story arcs that the Inhumans have been in, because I didn't think that they were going to follow any of those. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go in and see what they do with this. But after, you know, watching the show and kind of being disappointed, I went back to read some of those and seeing, you know, possibly what they could have done. Maybe if they had a bigger budget, they could have. But there's a part where there is an arc where Medusa does lose her hair. But we find out that she can still control her hair even if it's cut off. And she uses the hair, to kill this while it's detached from her head. And I thought maybe they're gonna do that, or maybe or something. Maybe she'll grow her hair back, or maybe she will use the hair, and, you know, we'll just have hair everywhere.
Hair everywhere.
Just yes, it's like, you know, Tangled. But we didn't get that. Medusa I kind of forgot about Medusa in this episode.
Yeah.
I think
Black Bolt, lack of a better term, finally found his voice. He didn't really need, partially because he was communicating with Maximus and Maximus understood him. He didn't need her to translate for him. So he sort of had his own voice, so to speak. And it finally felt like we were getting more Black Bolt than Medusa from that pair.
And, you know, I think I think it kind of shocked her too, because he was kind of standing up for himself, and he's just like, the humans are not who we should be fearing. Which leaves all big is like, oh crap, who are you? You know, well, and then saying we traded one problem for another, and not going into explanation. And, you know, he's not telling what he knows. He wants to, but at the same time, he's like, how am I going to tell you? How am I going to tell them? Yeah. Kind of thing. He's like, he's probably thinking, how am I going to tell them what I've known all these years and keep them all safe at the same time? Because that has to be weighing on his mind. And I mean, we also got a little bit about Medusa's parents when she was doing her little speech. Yeah. And why exactly they got exiled or what. And if they got exiled, where did they get exiled to? Did they get exiled to Earth? Or did they get exiled to a different planet? Because if they're on Earth, I wonder if her parents would probably still be alive.
Did they say it was exile?
Mm-hmm. They got banished. They didn't get killed. They said banished or exiled. They didn't say killed. They didn't say they got killed. At least I don't remember them saying they got killed.
They've been treating it this entire season like her parents are dead.
No, they said that she lost her parents, but loss can mean a lot of things.
Okay. All right. Because I think I got confused with the whole Louise thing where they were comparing sob stories from their childhood.
Yeah.
And she was comparing losing her parents to Louise's dad dying. So I guess that's why I thought they were dead.
Yeah, she lost her parents, but I think they got exiled. But where did they get exiled to? Yeah. And if they got exiled to Earth, that'd be kind of cool, seeing a little reunion. Mm-hmm. But you never know what's going to happen on that. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I'm kind of... This last episode kind of showed what it could have been. But it's like they didn't put enough effort into the rest of the series. And it just sucks that they'd wait to the end to put some effort into it. It's like... It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. If you want the series to do well, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to be strong and steady from the beginning.
Maybe you should give them a budget bigger than a ham sandwich.
That too.
Great. But honestly, I don't think it was about this episode having any more effort than the rest of it. I think this episode focused on the characters, which is definitely the strongest part of the show. And maybe if the rest of the season focused a little less on plot and more on characters, maybe it would have been just as strong.
That would have been good.
But then again, you need a plot to have a story, and
they could have had the plot, but they still could have focused a lot on the characters and why they're doing the things they're doing. Yeah. I mean, how many episodes was this?
8.
8. They could have done still having the plot at least focused on at least 1 or 2 characters per episode, even just a little 10-minute, little background of why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, they had enough time to do it. Even the main characters was, 5 maybe at the most, and maybe 4.
The titles of the episodes indicate that they should be focusing each on a character, but it never ended up that way because Gordon's title episode was he maybe had 4 lines and then he died. That was his episode. So
exactly,
maybe that was the plan, and the plan went horribly awry.
It went awry somewhere.
I think we've seen that. It's not even so much that these characters could be good. And what makes a good story is good characters to follow the story through with. This plot didn't have to really be anything. You could have put them in any situation, but if you made the characters themselves interesting and their interactions interesting, and made the stakes meaningful to the characters, then it's meaningful to us. And I don't think that the stakes were meaningful, or if they weren't meaningful, then they were confusing, and I didn't really understand. So I think
the only character I think they even spent a lot of time on and had some development and was an interesting character because he had development was Karnak.
Yeah. Karnak had the most character development.
And he wasn't even the main character. I mean, hell, even Titan or Triton had a little bit more to him than most of the other ones.
And he was gone.
He was gone.
Yeah, he was in a total of 2 episodes.
Right? 2 or 3, but yeah, it's just he had even more. I found him interesting. I found him very interesting. I mean, they even threw in, they threw you on they kept you on a planet or on the moon where there was no water. How,
you're an aquatic Inhuman.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's like they almost focused not enough on the main characters than they did, and I don't know. Like I said, there should have been at least 1 character per episode they focused on a little bit.
been interesting if they I don't think they'll ever do this, and if they would, it wouldn't be with these characters. It would have been interesting if we just followed, if it was kind of like an anthology where we followed one character per episode and have them their own with their mini story, little adventures that they go on. I mean, I always go back to when we did Slingshot with Yo-Yo. That was essentially, if you put all the little tiny episodes together, it was essentially one episode about Yo-Yo. And it was great, and it was amazing, and it gave her an arc within those like short 2-minute episodes. So like this could, you know, small little character episodes can be done.
Yes, definitely. And I wish they would have done it.
You need to put the proper care into the one character that you're going to focus on, and I feel like they didn't really. They tried to put too many characters into the foreground, and maybe you should have left some in the background and say this is this character's moment right now, and we should focus more on them.
Because I mean, we wanted some background on like what happened with Medusa and their family, or I mean, that could have been one episode with Medusa and Crystal. That could have been a combined episode. Yeah, and showed what happened to them and how it came about, kind of thing, you know. And then one about Black Bolt and his brother and Max. That could have been another one. And
I know the kid that Crystal meets. I know he's in the comics. It's not him. But she meets a boy in the comics. He was useless. Like, fucking, no, you didn't need him.
He could have been anyone.
He could have been he could have been anybody, but he was this weird surfer dude. It's like, who are you?
Yeah, I don't know. They spent too much time, like, looking for each other and not really doing anything. And it's like there was like a couple episodes that were good or something like that, and the rest were just like filler. And it's like when you only have, you know, 8-9 episodes to get your point across, you need to make the best of them and the most.
It honestly wasn't even filler. I don't even know what to classify that as.
I don't know. It was a letdown as someone that's coming in not knowing. Only knowing names, not knowing anything about in a background about these, I would have been like, I still am. I have no idea who these characters are, what their motivation is, and why they're doing what they're doing, and I have none. I have no information about any of that. And as someone that, you know, would general public that come in and you're trying to get them to get sucked into this because they like the Marvel or whatnot, or even just the name, they did a really piss poor job. We're all disgusted. We're just like,
no, I'm actually glad that the last episode was good.
Well,
I'm content.
I'm happy that I saw this series.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed because there's so many things it could have been, and it wasn't any of those things. And I feel like this is probably the least Marvel of the Marvel things, where, you know, like you watch something Marvel, and, you know, Marvel has like many different genres and many different types of things. It could be, I mean, it has fucking superheroes, obviously, but it also has, you know, your spies, and it has space operas, and it has comedies, and it has character studies, and all these different things. But when you watch it, you're like, yeah, that's a Marvel movie, or like that's a Marvel show. They have fucking a noir show in the 40s.
Yep.
And with this, it's so, you know, essentially Marvel. It's like, you know, this alien race of people who live on the moon. How does that not work? And somehow
right? How does that not become interesting automatically? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
mean, it was interesting automatically. I loved the intro 2 episodes. I loved like about the first 4 episodes, and then it was like, oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah, like, can we go to something else now? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, we both all of us think that if they did focus more on a little more character development, I think it would have been a little better. Give people a little more background as to who these people are. Because all we do right off is Medusa's a kind of a bossy bitch, and,
Yeah.
and
Which another thing I really like that
is kind of a pacifist, and then
Another thing I like that they did at the end was Black Bolt, they're on Earth, which another thing I didn't like that they left very vague was like, okay, so NASA is helping them relocate.
It's not NASA. She didn't work for NASA.
Where? Who did she work for? She worked for the government.
No, she didn't. She worked for she had a benefactor that was doing this. It's like, it wasn't really the government. It was like another person. So it could have been another branch of the government.
Either way.
And that's what I'm thinking. I might have gone into S.H.I.E.L.D. at some point this way. The boss being maybe linked to S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. But, it wasn't necessarily a government agency. It was a privately funded.
Either way, they relocated them where? It looked like they were on a abandoned football field or something. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's a generic place.
And it turns out it's the school that Spider-Man went to, and then we get a Spider-Man Inhumans crossover.
Yes, although I need Spider-Man Defenders before I get a Spider-Man Inhumans.
Yes, we do.
No, we need a Spider-Man Deadpool buddy movie. Come on.
Deadpool's not in this universe. Calm down.
He might be.
He might be.
Yeah.
With the little stirrings going on over at the Disneys.
Mm-hmm.
There's always stirrings. Anyway, I like that Black Bolt. Every time that he's made a speech, she's translated for him, and it was time to make an epic speech, and he just goes like this for her to go make the speech. And she was like,
"Well, so after
I get to use my own voice. Awesome."
Yeah. After I think he took to heart after she, what she said to him in the last episode, if we don't agree, if don't go in together, we don't go in at all. She's like, I'm the queen. I don't want to be just your interpreter. I don't want to be just your person by your side. I want to be able to do something. I want to be able to, inspire these people. She wanted a bigger role. And I understand. So I think he was like, it's your time. We're in a new place. Time to start all over.
And you're not royal here, so.
No, but
Nobody's
the people
royal.
at Adelan still think of them as so they're going to have to follow them. They're going to follow them probably until they start finding their own way, which I think might be a little hard for them. But I think in the long run, they'll probably take a lot of load off their plate.
Well, I mean, they still have to function like a society with rules and leaders and stuff. So technically, still gonna have to take the roles of king and queen seriously.
Until they find their way out in the earth. Until they figure out until they figure out how to act in public.
Well, in the comics, the city of Adelan is sequestered in the Himalayan mountains. So I'm wondering if that's where we're going. If that's where they will be relocated.
It didn't look very cold with that dress and shoes she was wearing.
Well, no, but temporary. Maybe they'll relocate to the Himalayas. Maybe they'll find. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well, I was gonna say Afterlife, what we saw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't know where that was. It could have been in China. Mm-hmm. It was implied that it was in China.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they'll rebuild Afterlife and make it the new Adelan.
Or it could be an old defunct agents S.H.I.E.L.D. facility. They're just like, no one's gonna get you here.
But S.H.I.E.L.D's not. I mean,
we don't know.
S.H.I.E.L.D's in space. Sorry, S.H.I.E.L.D's in space. Like, I don't know how S.H.I.E.L.D. is gonna do anything.
Right? Well, I don't know for sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I think with this going into S.H.I.E.L.D., because like now that this has ended, S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming back. I I think the best bet is to have Inhumans tie into S.H.I.E.L.D, and I think they were going to ultimately do that anyway. And I think because these particular Inhumans are not from Earth, we can bring in S.W.O.R.D, which is, for the people who don't know, S.W.O.R.D is like the space counterpart to S.H.I.E.L.D, where they deal with intergalactic threats. And we saw at the end of the last season of S.H.I.E.L.D that Coulson is in space somewhere, and I think he's at S.W.O.R.D. And maybe they could tie in these Inhumans anyway with that, if they're going to go more cosmic.
Yeah, especially if we get a new cosmic threat on the moon.
Which could also tie into, Infinity War or Captain Marvel or any like Asgardian or Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that we're not going to be seeing Talbot anytime. He switched comic books.
Mm-hmm.
He switched comic books?
He's on Supergirl.
Oh, okay, cool.
The actor who plays Talbot. So yeah, he's on a DC show now.
Well, it's all right because he's in a coma.
Yeah,
he's not dead, but he's not not conscious.
Just have like for whatever reason they go to his house, and we find out that he's been making video diaries, not for anybody, just for himself.
He's making video diaries.
He likes hearing himself talk.
It's true.
It's true.
I would love that.
Yeah. So I don't know how long.
I've grown to love Talbot in the seasons he's become.
Talbot is so not PC that I love it.
He's a butthead,
yeah.
to say the least, in the on Supergirl.
Lovable butthead.
No, he's one of the villains right now. I don't know how long he's going to be on Supergirl. What's going to happen? So I don't know what his contract, the actor's contract, is going to be. So yeah, I don't know if they'll ever bring him back or not.
One last thing, oh sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say that I just hope they bring him back and bring back my Bobby and my Hunter. I don't know. Well, I know Bobby is doing somewhere else on the fucking with Seth MacFarlane, whatever. But
on the Orville.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just going to be interesting on S.H.I.E.L.D. if they do integrate some of these characters. And maybe, I hope they don't, if they do decide not to have a second season, at least address it in S.H.I.E.L.D. at some point, oh yeah, everyone's there safe and blah, blah, blah. There's some, just kind of like a little update and a little, off conversations, or something, or just so we know that they're okay, they're good, and they possibly at some point can become brought into S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatnot. Just some kind of little, not just all of a sudden they're just dropped someplace. Oh, we have to start anew. Okay, whatever happened to them? I don't know.
we all know like how we feel about other Marvel things ignoring other Marvel things when we clearly know they happen.
Yeah, I don't think I feel as strongly about that as some others, but yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Like you can't say this is not related to the other Marvel stuff when it is.
But
it is related.
They're not saying that. It just doesn't have direct tie-ins.
It doesn't, but I think when it comes to things like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and like all the Netflix stuff, when the bigger Marvel stuff doesn't acknowledge them, that's understandable because they're at a smaller scale and they're more in the shadows. But when it comes to like this Inhumans,
or even S.H.I.E.L.D. for that matter. Hello,
Coulson's
supposedly dead, but he's been all over your pictures and getting arrested at press conferences, but yeah, no one knows he's alive.
No,
well, we don't know that. They just haven't addressed it.
But it's very, it gets kind of frustrating when major things like that, things that happen on a national scale are not acknowledged by the Avengers. Like if like, you know, Black Panther doesn't address that, well, that's understandable because they're in another country. But when things are like within close proximity of each other and they don't acknowledge that the other thing happened, it's kind of strange.
Because they aren't separate universes. They're like on Supergirl, they're Supergirl versus the Arrowverse. They're on different worlds, so that could possibly, you know, thing. But this, when they don't at least acknowledge that certain things have happened, it's like,
yeah, but not every movie is going to have. This is the last thing. I don't want to drag this out, but it just isn't always the time or the place to mention things.
Oh yeah, but there, I don't know. Just some of the comments I've heard from some of the directors and stuff like that kind of piss me off. It's like, well, we're not going to, you know, this is not going to have anything to do with the other. But it's like, but it does. And to say that it doesn't is like, I don't know. It's kind of making Marvel fanboys and people that like it making us feel stupid.
Marvel's going to do whatever it wants, ultimately.
Oh,
but,
definitely, yeah.
You know, ultimately, when it comes to Infinity War and you have all these different characters just smooched up into one place, the question does come up of, well, where are these certain characters that we don't see? You know what I mean? Understandable, though, because, you know, you can't fit everybody.
No, you can't fit everyone. No.
The span of, like, probably 2.5-hour movies. Especially some of the smaller heroes who the big heroes don't really know about. And, you know, those particular characters might not necessarily show up in Infinity War because, you know, their powers are kind of, you know, couldn't really go up against Thanos and like some of the other bigger things. But I think the Inhumans can. They can't deal with
Black Bolt.
Yes, exactly.
Yell at Thanos.
At the very least have Black Bolt, because Black Bolt is, you know, a major Marvel character within the comics.
Yeah, and even his power is incredible, because even taking down that wall of concrete, he whispered. He whispered that. And it destroyed that concrete.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Inhumans right now is to maybe have some of the smaller characters, like some of the side characters from this series, appear in S.H.I.E.L.D.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool because, you know, people in S.H.I.E.L.D. are still trying to figure out Inhumans. They're still trying to understand them, and having the originals come back would be a very great asset to them in knowing what's going on and how to go about it and stuff. And
I think you should save Black Bolt for if they were going to bring Black Bolt back. I think don't put Black Bolt in S.H.I.E.L.D. because his powers are too great. I say you save Black Bolt and put him in to some of the more major movies.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to go.
We'll have to see what happens. We'll see what they're going to do, because they're very unpredictable.
So I say overall, out of the three Marvel, and I know there are other, you know, the Netflix shows, but we're talking about the network television out of S.H.I.E.L.D., Carter, and this one. Where do you rank Inhumans among the three?
Bottom.
Yeah, definitely bottom.
I
don't know why I asked that. Yeah, I don't know why I bought
number 3.
But
No, I mean, I think that's a valid question. And I honestly, if the story was better, if it flowed better, I might have put it above S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
Because I love these characters. These characters are great.
Oh yeah, they had so much potential. They're amazing. They have in their own right, but they didn't explore what they could have explored. Yeah. They didn't go far enough.
Ultimately, no, they didn't. I think ultimately the general consensus among us, and I would think a bunch of other people from what I've been hearing, is that they're happy that this got made, but they wish that maybe more time and a little bit more care were put into it, and maybe it would have done better in the hands of somebody who really cared about these characters, and if they were just given like just a bigger budget, because I think they could have. I think they suffered from two major things, and that is the budget, because that's obvious in the production value, where they have spent their money on certain things, but maybe,
the dog. They spent their money on the dog.
Yeah, and then also, the pacing, where they put focus on certain things, where like, maybe we could have put that.
We could have done without the whole weed farm.
Yeah, like that.
Oh my god, I fucking forgot about that. Holy shit.
I mean, we could have had one episode about the weed farm and about Karnak's character involved, and that would have been good. And we would have been fine.
Oh my god.
We could have done that one instead of like 3 or 4 episodes. They wasted 3 or 4 episodes on the weed farm.
Wow.
Let that sink in, people.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Ultimately, I would enjoy a second season if they would have taken the mistakes that were made here, improve on them, and ultimately, give the show to somebody who genuinely has a real strong passion for the Inhumans, and specifically these Inhumans, the Royal Family, and they could use their resources and their love of these characters to make something great if there were to be a season 2. Ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen, which is kind of disappointing, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is still going on, and after it's going on its 5th season, and that's very hard for any show to do. And then we got Carter, who made it to 2 seasons, and this one unfortunately probably will only get 1, and a really short season 1 at that. So I don't know what's going to happen. There's no news or anything that you guys have heard.
Nope.
No. Okay, so
fans are
maybe
disappointed.
it's safe to say that Inhumans, the show at least, are probably dead at this point, which is a bummer.
Bummer.
But I don't want to end it on that note. What we could say is that we could hope, and they most likely will do this, just take the characters, sprinkle them out through the Marvel universe, and incorporate them in such a way that is meaningful, and we can probably see them in a better light, and we'll be happy to see these characters again if and when they do pop up.
Yell at Thanos.
And yell at Thanos. That's probably
I need it. I don't need it, but I need it.
No, we do need it, because somebody's got to do something. Because I don't think Cap can just punch Thanos and we'll be fine.
No.
No, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves. That's years away.
No, 1 year away. No, not even.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
shit.
May.
Okay. Oh wow.
Black Panther's first, though.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's gonna be great.
That went by fast.
Right.
Yeah. So, Inhumans. Yeah, not my favorite show. Glad I saw it. Needs a lot of work. So overall, Inhumans, I'll say it was nice to meet you. I'd be happy to hear from you, but maybe I won't actively call you.
It was a good date. We might not follow up.
Exactly. There we go. So, does anyone have anything else to add? Any closing thoughts?
I think I've exhausted myself talking about this.
Yeah, I think it was a good first try, and as someone that didn't, or don't really follow them, I would, if they did get a season 2, I'd probably watch it just to see what they would do. I don't think that's gonna happen, which is kind of sad, because these characters I can see the potential, and I can see actually really liking them, but I don't know if we'll get the chance.
Well,
unfortunately.
Well, until then, we will be back for season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I am looking forward to. I am excited about. I can't wait to see all my babies back and see, what the fuck. I don't know what Coulson is doing up in space. I don't know if he's still dead. I don't know what the fuck is going on with the show anymore. But I will probably enjoy it. There's a trailer out if you guys want to see it. It looks pretty good so far. We got some more Yo-Yo, which I'm always excited about. But
we got Mac being in a movie buff, talking about aliens.
Yes, he's always making his nerdy references because Mac is just a dork. That's why we love him. But until then, this has been our show.
Yes.
Hey Clio, where can people find you?
They can find me at Clio Moto on places like Twitter and Twitch.
Rachel, where can people find you?
You can find me at VikingWitch76 on Twitter and at VikingWitch on Twitch.
That's where we are right now.
That's where we are right now.
You can find me and all of my giggles and gore and monsters and mayhem here on YouTube at Jacob Salazar, or you can find me on Twitter, tweet me throughout the life at ToNoverland. That is TONOWHERELAND. Join the Noverland Society. And this has been the ASOTV podcast from Marvel's Inhumans, and you can follow us here on Twitch, and we will be uploading all these shows onto YouTube. You can find us on the Facebooks, the Twitters, and the MySpaces, anywhere you guys post your shit at ASOTV.
Except for Instagram, we have not voyaged into the unknown of Instagram yet.
No,
and that's better for people who can't read. And what would we post anyway?
Photos of us, I guess.
I still want to get a hold of the MySpace and just start posting pictures of cats.
Oh yeah, you know what? I should get you the password. Yeah, we'll work that out.
We're going down. Okay. Good night.
Oh, right. I have to click buttons. That's my job today.
Cut it off. Hurry up.
Go! It won't do it! There it is.